Let's say you were going to design a new rifle from the ground up. You'd probably want to look at some successful designs from the past and present and use some things that they already did right. You'd probably want the ergonomics and adaptability of the AR. You definitely want that safety, easy to reach, and want to be able to mount all kinds of goodies to this new gun. How about the reliability of the AK? Hard to deny that. Also, let's use that 7.62x39 round. It's harder hitting than the 5.56, yet still more compact than the 308. We'll also have it feed right from AK mags. They're plentiful, reliable, and cheap. What about some other designs? The FN-FAL was a huge success and adopted by everyone in NATO with the exception of the United States. Let's also take a look at the SIG 550 series of rifles. This gun is basically an evolved AK that has some amazing features that we could borrow from too. Well, that's pretty much what the designers at M+M did when they designed the M10X. They took a bunch of features from iconic rifles over time and all over the world, combined them into a very compelling new rifle with a huge lineup of features. The M10X gets labeled as an AK alternative, but it's really much more than that. As M+M likes to say, this is not an AK, and nothing could be more true. This is an entirely new design that really gets cues from all over the world, truly making it the world's first international defense rifle. This is an M10X-Z, designated by the Magpul Zukov stock. It has some other small changes over its predecessor, the M10X Elite. It's about a pound lighter than the Elite, and also features 5/8x24 threads. I think the first thing that stands out on the M10X is the upper. The actual upper, or serialized part, is housed in an aluminum monolithic extrusion, and M+M accomplishes a lot with this. This extrusion lets you mount whatever type of optic setup you could imagine, with a full 18-inch rail up top, and it has M-lok all around the forearm for mounting whatever accessory that you could come up with. This is huge because it gives the M10X the versatility and mounting options of the AR without any of the difficulties that sometimes occur with the AK. It also has QD sling mounts, and I really like how there's just the slightest hand stop at the end. It also attributes to much of the rifle's unique look, which I just love. When you first get a glimpse of this rifle, you see an AK mag and think it's just another AK. But when you notice the upper, you start scratching your head. The next feature that is huge for me is the charging handle can be swapped to the side of your preference. I run mine on the left side like an FN-FAL, so that I can charge the weapon and maintain sight picture as I am right-handed. However, if you prefer, you can run it on the right side like an AK. It's easily removable with the tip of a bullet and can be easily swapped at any time, making it completely ambidextrous, just like the safety, which is also easily reached and very reminiscent of the AR. Worried about that easily removable design? I was too a little until I saw this. You can easily hold the weight of the entire rifle with just the charging handle. As far as the grip and stock go, obviously the M10X-Z comes with the Magpul Zukov stock and a Magpul grip. I really like the stock, it's super comfortable, adjustable for length of pull, and folds to the side. The grip is good too and should be interchangeable with other AK grips. The M10X also features M+M's magazine release lever, or MRL for short. The MRL allows the M10X to accept any AK mag. I can say that we tried a bunch of different mags and haven't found a single one that wouldn't work. The MRL also eliminates magazine wobble that you can sometimes get with various AK mags and helps with function. You can also buy the MRL separately to upgrade your existing AK. The gas system is adjustable and very similar to the SIG 550 series of rifles. The first position, 1, is for normal use, and 2 is for heavy fouling. It allows more gas to run through the system. If the gun were to become very dirty, this will keep it banging. Lastly, 0 allows no gas to flow through the rifle, meaning it won't cycle. I guess this would be good if you're running a suppressor and wanted to make some really quiet shots. You wouldn't even have the sound of the rifle working. The M10X will also hinge open for easy cleaning, and I know that most of you will say this is just like an AR, but this hinge method is pretty much straight out of an FN FAL, and to completely remove the upper from the lower, you just undo this screw. Disassembly is very easy, and if you're a huge gun nerd like myself, it's extremely interesting to see how M+M melts all these different designs into one rifle. To disassemble, depress this lever, allowing the rifle to hinge open. Use a bullet to remove the charging handle. This will allow the bolt carrier to slide out the back. The carrier and bolt will look and come apart in similar style to an AK, but also very much like the SIG 550 series. For normal maintenance, that is really all that is needed, but if you want to remove the gas system, first find this little pin, depress it, and rotate the regulator about a quarter turn, and it will come out. The piston and recoil spring assembly should now fall out of the gas cylinder. You can also remove the gas cylinder itself by pushing in on the pin again and rotating the cylinder until it becomes free. A great thing about the M10X is how the designers accomplished all of this with so few parts. As you can see, it disassembles simply into just a few major components and doesn't have a bunch of small pieces. Just simple, rugged, and reliable. Another thing that M+M totally nailed with the M10X-Z is that it has 5/8 by 24 threads, the common thread pitch for 308 or 300 blackout rifles. This makes the M10X very easy to suppress, which is really cool, because AKs can be somewhat difficult to suppress. It's really nice to be able to suppress 7.62 by 39 without having to buy an AK-specific silencer. And actually, the round suppresses pretty well. I'd say it's a little quieter than 5.56, but that's just my opinion. We didn't actually test that. We had flawless function out of the M10X suppress. Actually, we had flawless function out of the M10X the entire time we tested it. We've been running this gun for about 8 months now, and it's probably getting close to 2,000 rounds. It's been 100% reliable with whatever kind of ammo we ran through it, and I would say that the reliability is very comparable to that of an AK. We easily went 1,500 rounds without a cleaning. The M10X is very accurate when compared to other AKs shooting the 7.62 by 39 round. With a single power red dot, I was very easily able to put shots on target quickly out to 100 yards. For me, this would be the practical use for this type of rifle, and it excels in this application. M+M makes some pretty big claims about accuracy, so we did shoot the M10X from a bench with a couple different scope setups. We briefly tried the rifle with my Leupold Devo, but the brass was deflecting into the scope, so that was a no-go, and we switched it up to a more traditional scope. Running Hornady match ammo, we were able to get just better than 2-inch groups. This is a pretty typical example, and it measures about 1 3/4 inches. With more practice on the trigger, you may be able to get this a little bit tighter. The trigger on the M10X is exceptionally good for an AK and works phenomenally well for my intended use for the rifle as an assault type rifle with very good accuracy at 100 yards and is able to make quick, accurate shots. It is extremely light, pulling at about 3.5 pounds on my gauge, and is very smooth with no gritty or creepy feeling at all. However, as a precision rifle trigger, for me it leaves a little to be desired. There's no discernible wall, and with it being so light, sometimes it will break just a second before you're ready when trying to shoot for groups at range. For me, and for what I want from the rifle, it's a great trigger, and if you spent some more time working with it from a bench, you may be able to bring the groups in a bit. So at least to me, it's an exceptional AK trigger, and I think that most people buying this type of rifle would think that it's a great trigger too. Shooting the M10X is a real pleasure. The ergonomics are really good, the accuracy is exceptional, recoil is light, and the optics and accessories are far easier to mount than an AK. I would say it's similar to shooting a really high-end AK, and maybe even slightly better. So you can look at the M10X a lot of different ways. I think that most people will think of it as an AK alternative, and it can be called that. It is an exceptional alternative to the AK. When compared to other major AK alternatives on the market, I would say that it has a better manual of arms than the CMMG Mutant and is much easier to perform reloads. The IWI Galil Ace is another really good alternative, however it costs a good bit more, and you'd have to drop some more dough to get a handrail as nice as the one that comes with the M10X. For the money, you just can't beat the M10X if you're in the market for a rifle of this type. However, I would go on to say that it's much more than just an AK alternative. As we've already talked about, it borrows design cues from other iconic rifles. As a whole, I would say that it's closest to a SIG 550 series rifle, which sadly has been fairly poorly represented in the States. You can either pay a boatload of cash for a genuine Swiss-made one, which I've heard are great, or you're stuck with the somewhat lackluster renditions that SIG America has brought out over the years. Until SIG gets their act together and comes up with a high-quality rendition of the 550, I would say that this is as close as you can get without trading your right arm. I would love SIG to address the 550 problem that they have, but I'm sure they're a bit preoccupied right now. For what it's worth, this in my opinion is the best AK alternative available right now. It's also my go-to AK in my collection at the moment, and it's the closest thing I may ever own to a nice SIG 550 series rifle. No matter how you want to look at it, the M10X is a great rifle in its own right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to help support Alabama Arsenal, the best possible way to do that is to click the links in the description. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. That's the best possible way to keep up with what we're doing and know about the projects we're currently working on. If you like the video, go ahead and hit like. Be sure to share it on your social media, and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching.